about a little power play action. The Penguins have gone 8 games without a goal. They certainly need that as part of their arsenal in the Pride game tonight. Great to see the two teams coming together for a special event.
Certainly is, and we'll take a look at the goaltending matchup. Penguins starting goalie presented by Hyundai. Tristan Jarry coming off his first regulation loss since October 30th. He is 6-1-0 in his career against Buffalo. Sabres starting netminder presented by Kia is Dustin Tokarski, who beat the Oilers on Friday. Craig Anderson is hurt, so it's a 32-year-old from Saskatchewan. Taco Bell take, Mike Sullivan said today our transition from offense to defense is going to be critical tonight. Sabres are a good team off the rush. And he gave a lot of credit to their coach, and there he is, Don Granato. He's done a good job in trying to change the culture around the Sabres. Named full-time Sabres head coach back in June. Pivotal game for both teams. Neither wanted to fall too far behind in their respective divisions. Off we go on a Tuesday night at PPG Paints Arena. The Penguins and the Sabres meeting for the first time this season. The Crosby line begins. They're joined by Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang on the blue line. One lineup change for Pittsburgh. Dominic Simone is back in. He's been a scratch the last 5 games. Brian Boyle is scratched tonight. Great Kachula, took a check, got it forward. Dylan Cousins trying to maneuver around Brian Dumoulin. Cousins nearly grabbed it. Back on goal and brushed aside by Tristan Jarry.
Well, the Penguins want to show their dominance. They've had so much confidence over the last couple of years against this Sabre team that's really struggled. Of course, that's something we all know, but let's see if they have it tonight after a couple of subpar performances.
Tough road trip on the weekend, losing in Ottawa, and most recently on Sunday, the 6-1 loss against the Washington Capitals. Buffalo lost on Saturday, 5-4. Heartbreaker against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Jarry making the save on Asplund from the wing.
Well, let's take a look. Chris Letang with a long cross-ice path to Carter in flight. Carter's so good at using that big body to get pucks to the net and get the body to the net and provide screens. He'll be right in front of Tokarski here tonight. Tokarski had a great start to the season. Talking to some of the people in Buffalo, they love the way he's really led by example. But you don't want to rely on one guy all year. We'll see how that plays out. Aaron Dell, they picked him up near They were hoping he was going to help in that position.
It was Dell who played on Saturday as they lost 5-4, gave up a goal in the final few seconds of regulation time. So the Sabres with 14 points, the Penguins with 14 points. Pittsburgh at 5-5-4. And Teddy Bluger can stick handle his way into the Sabres zone. Was poke checked by Will Butcher. And now recovered by Zemgus Girgensons, who will drop it back behind his own goal. Pittsburgh with the game's first 2 shots, and a nice steal by Bluger. Into the circle, Poso checking Bluger. Butcher takes care of McGinn, and it's Girgensson, also from Riga, Latvia. Same hometown as Teddy Bluger. Buffalo capturing here, and the Penguins making a change up ice. Fired ahead by Butcher. Couldn't find a teammate. It's an icing call against the Sabres.
You mentioned that lineup change. Dominic Simone's on the ice right now. He missed the last 5, 6 of 7 for the Penguins. Got off to a great start with 3 points in his first 4 games. After playing 11 in Calgary last year, the Penguins reacquired him. And he feels pretty good to be back in Pittsburgh.
And maybe even more significantly, Bob, Evan Rodriguez going back to center, which he did not play on Sunday.
Yeah, I like that. Get the puck in his hands, you know. He's so confident with it right now.
The reason why we started the broadcast talking about him, 11 points, and he's top scorer at 6 goals as well.
I like this line for him. These guys can all make a play. You got some finish as well with Heinen, who's shown that ability.
Here he is, former Sabre. Snaps it right on goal. That's stopped by Tokarski. And he'll get it back to cover up. Evan Rodriguez not afraid to let it fly.
No, he's not. He certainly is growing up as an individual, not just as a player on the ice, but off as well. Just the way he carries himself, and I think that goes a long way. I really do. He finds that he's a leader, more of a leader here, that they depend on him, and of course, they pick him back up for the second time here. So they really like what he can bring. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife.
5 years in the Sabres organization. Started his pro career, Evan Rodriguez. He was undrafted. He's been playing with Dominic Simone and Danton Heinen tonight. There's a turnover. Dylan Cousins takes it away, gets it on goal. The save made by Jarry. Tap back to the line. Pesek fires one. It goes off the back wall. Dylan Cousins, number 24, buzzing around in the offensive zone. He's coming off a great game on Friday, going head-to-head against Connor McDavid. And Cousins had 2 goals. It was a big win for Buffalo as they defeated the high-flying Edmonton Oilers. UPMC Sports Medicine injury update. The lone name, Evgeny Malkin. Missed his 59 points in 46 career games against Buffalo, but plenty of other players with huge numbers. We highlighted Jeff Carter, had 5 goals last year against Buffalo, including the 4-goal game back in May. And of course, Sidney Crosby. Only 7 times in his career has he been held off the score sheet in a game against Buffalo. This is the top line for the Sabres. Tage Thompson, got him in the open as well, along with Rasmus Asplund and Jeff Skinner. Asplund pushes one to the net, and no worries for Tristan Jarry. Jeff Skinner going to work, looking for a resurgent season. Also, Tage Thompson's been hot with 3 goals in the last 5 games. Zach Aston Reese on the far side. Took the check, got it to center ice. And right back in, Colin Miller over to Skinner. Skinner from the circle with the shot. That will flutter over to the corner. Aston Reese can get something going for Pittsburgh, and a good pass for McGinn. McGinn inside out, trying to catch up to it. Fended off well by Bryson. Zach Aston Reese along with Brock McGinn and Teddy Bluger. Familiar trio for Mike Sullivan. Out of the corner, work back to an empty point, and skating back will be Dumoulin.
Good to have Brian Dumoulin back in with his familiar partner in Letang, and the Penguins trying to get that left-right dynamic going and get some semblance of normalcy back on the blue line.
No question about it. Second game back for Brian Dumoulin, second game back for Sidney Crosby. For Crosby, it's his 3rd game overall on the season. Digging the puck out with Zucker, Ruedel. Had missed 4 of the previous 5 prior to his return on Sunday.
Former Sabre.
That's right. Another guy who began his career in Western New York. Buffalo clearing it through the neutral zone. Mike Matheson is out here with Chad Ruedel, and the puck is steered in by Pittsburgh. Will Butcher has to deal with Carter. Cody Eakin getting back and stumbling. Kapanen had it but lost it, and Zemgus Girgensons will chip to center ice.
This line here for the Sabres could be tough to play against. Eakin, he's been a good checker his whole career. Oposo and Girgensons.
Poso with the centering pass. Girgenson's stick was lifted. It's back to Dahlin. 3 veterans on this line for Buffalo. Now defenseman Mark Pesic going behind the goal for Poso. Longtime New York Islander, off to a great start this season. Back it comes to Girgensons, the drive and the stick save made by Tristan Jarry. A lot of activity around Jarry.
Yeah, that line's got some weight to it for the Sabres. They want to play in the offensive zone and kind of wear you down. And they had a good shift here.
Rasmus Dahlin up ice for John Hayden, another big body in the Sabres lineup. It's Hayden along with R2 Ruotsalainen, number 25, and back to retrieve the puck is Mark Pesic. Pesic along with Rasmus Dahlin, first overall pick back in 2018. Pedersen stepping up. Hit hard by Ruotsalainen, got it into Sabres ice. Nearly picked off by Bjork, overtaken by Crosby, tight space, got it to the slot area, but it's skated away by Ruotsalainen. Ruotsalainen getting it down the wing. Anders Bjork taken care of by Marino. And Marcus Pedersen going to stretch it out. Crosby got a stick on it somehow, but now scooped up by Miller. Off the side of the cage, scramble in front, digging for it. Russ goes wide of the post, then Crosby missed the net. Jumped on by Kachula, and he'll relieve the pressure. Head manning for Dylan Cousins. Cousins' 7th overall pick a couple of years ago for the Sabres. Turns it over here just inside the line. Resetting will be Letang. He shots 4-3 in favor of Buffalo. Penguins with his lone home game. 9 of 11 after this. Will be on the road. A lot of games in Canada upcoming. Evan Rodriguez flips it right through the slot. Crashing the crease was Dominic Simon along with Danton Heinen. And now Letang will look up ice. Tape for Simon. Dominic Simon back in for Pittsburgh. Turns it over to the forehand. Heinen looking for Rodriguez. That got broken up and now skated forward by Vinny Hinostroza. They'll connect with Robert Haig, the former Philadelphia Flyer. An over deal for Rasmus Ristolainen. A lot of offseason moves for Buffalo. And recently made their biggest move, which was trading Jack Eichel. We'll have more on that. Blockbuster trade back on November 4th. Dahlin missing it behind the goal. Luger checking along with Zach Aston Reese. It slipped up the wall to Chad Ruedel. Landing it below the goal line. Intercept by Dahlin, twisting and turning. Gonna shake the check of Aston Reese, and now plenty of time for Mark Pysyk.
Yeah, you saw a little demonstration, Dahlin there, holding onto the puck, using his defense partner there. They want to control the puck a little bit more, the Sabres, instead of just throwing it away. How about some puck possession? And that's one thing they're trying to implement in their game. Instead of just panicking and throw it away, let's control the puck. Let's look at Crosby's last shift here. He took that kind of backhand feed, fanned on that opportunity on Tokarski. Said he's looking for his timing. And Ruedel got his stick on that one, denying that opportunity for Girgensons right in front, former first-round pick.
Yeah, Crosby spoke earlier today. He mentioned that timing. Said physically feels good, but just a matter of getting up to game speed after missing all of training camp. Right off the draw, Eakin with a shot. Recovered by Ruedel. The hold at the point by Colin Miller. Tristan Jarry is going to take a stroll out of the crease. Brock McGinn gets a piece of Bryson. That leads to a 2-on-1. Racing up ice is Teddy Bluger. Bluger steps in, stopped by Tokarski. Now Zemgus Girgensons, along with Kyle Oposo and Cody Eakin, this veteran line. Colin Miller, smothered along the boards by John Marino. Marino fires it up ice. Kapanen has a step. He shoots. Save made by Tokarski. Back to Pettersson. The shot stops. Zucker trying to tuck it home, and he can't. Sprawled out was Tokarski. He makes another save here in this first period.
Well, it almost looked like Zucker was trying to corral that puck in with his right skate as he went to the net. Kind of like a soccer play or something, Mearsy, but he's still down on the ice in that collision with the netminder. I'm not so sure he didn't get hit with the puck as it came in. Really like to take another look. Opportunity of this. He might have, maybe the puck him in the foot as he was trying to kick it in. Let's see. I think that's what happened.
Pens. Mario Lemieux would remain involved in ownership, and Bob, very exciting news. A couple of different reasons. Obviously that Lemieux involvement, that part of it, but also talking about Fenway Sports Group, a premier sports brand, Boston Red Sox, Liverpool FC, so we will stay tuned on that, but potentially huge news for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And this one was scoreless in the first. Had some scoring opportunities. Penguins have had a couple of chances off the rush. Spared Kapanen, Teddy Bluger. Pittsburgh with a 6-5 shots on goal advantage. Still without a penalty to this point, and from center red, not quite actually. It was Girgensons shy of the red line, and that'll be an icing call. Why don't we take a look at the Darryl Ford leaders, points per game against the Sabres all time. Number 1 is 66. Yzerman, Bure, Orr, Gretzky,
look at that list.
Sidney Crosby.
That's a good one.
Everybody in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Crosby will be there eventually. Sidney Crosby, 10 points last year against Buffalo. 73 points in 50 career games against the Sabres.
Sabres get their chains off a face-off win. Pretty even start to this one.
Indeed. Like I said, these are critical points here for both of these teams. The Penguins trying to get back on track after a disappointing weekend. Another errant pass is going to go down. That'll be another icing call against Buffalo.
Yeah, they did a good job. A couple of 3-foot passes to exit the zone, but that not a good one right there for Skinner as Thompson can't track it down. Yeah, Skinner, a little bit of a better start to the season. Certainly, he had 2 goals, 1 assist his last game after seasons of 14 and 7 goals, and he's making $9 million a year. His career high is 63 points. That's a lot of coin for a guy who's not doing too much, and that icing costs the Sabres an interference penalty off the faceoff. Gensel draws another penalty. Each and every game he is drawing penalties, and the Penguins go to the power play.
Team high 9th penalty drawn by Gensel. He's getting up there among the league leaders in that category. Let's take a look.
Well, Bryson's going to shut him down here. Little interference. We saw this called in the last hockey game. And if you're going to start calling those, you're going to see a few penalties here tonight because that happens almost every shift.
Here is this Penguins power play that has got to get on track. Dead last in the league, 0 for the last 25. Of course, starts with the face-off, and the Penguins have to get reorganized here. Last power play goal, October 26th, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. That was Jason Zucker. Skating in is Gensel, drops it back. Letang will walk the line. Crossed it over to Crosby. Crosby to Letang. Looks, shoots, comes to Carter. Back over, Rust, and Tokarski lunges and seals it off.
Boy, just lay down. On the ice was Tokarski. Gensel in front of the net. That shot doesn't cleanly get through, but he's there to make that save. And little scissors on the goalpost there for Tokarski. Mike Vellucci knows him very well. They won a Calder Cup together in Charlotte with the Checkers and the Miners, and then they both followed each other to Wilkes-Barre in 2019.
Pittsburgh, the face-off win. This time in the attacking zone here on this power play chance. Crosby, the blast. That's fought off high by Tokarski. Wrap back around to Gensel. Buffalo's PK 15th in the NHL. They were 26 last year. Crosby sets up, goes to Letang. Pass to Russ, circle to circle. Crosby has to adjust to take it. Taps it back to Letang. 1:07 to go in the power play chance. Sidney Crosby looking for Russ. That gets broken up. Two Sabres sticks in the lane. And Kajula will clear. Pittsburgh actually 13th in the league in power play shots. That tells me they're shooting the puck. They've said it many times. They're getting the looks. They're pleased with the chances they're getting on the power play because have not been able to finish with the man advantage. Letang staying out there, goes to Zucker. Drive gets blocked by Pesic. Back to the top for Zucker. Here's Letang. 37 to go in the power play chance. Kasperi Kapanen juggles it. Settles it down to the goal line. Rodriguez, stuff attempt denied by the pad of Tokarski, and the Sabres clear.
Boy, I love that extra stride that Rodriguez took there to try to get it over that left pad.
Here is Kapanen. He will look, has to turn back. Kapanen. Now it's Marino working the point. Evan Rodriguez. Kapanen fires, missed high. Rodriguez able to hold it in. Tip try in front. It bounces wide with Zucker posted up at the top of the crease. Buffalo will clear again, and that will do it. Penguins over the last 26.
He looks sharp in net, doesn't he? Tokarski's really fighting around those screens, really working hard in that blue paint.
Played pretty well against the Pens last year. Even though Buffalo lost 7 of the 8 games, Dustin Tokarski has played for 10 different AHL teams over the last 12 years.
Take a look at Crosby's opportunity. A super mole presented by AHN. Crosby tries to go up high on Tokarski here. Right in the blocker. Down, he's down early. He makes a good save, positional save there as Rodriguez tries to take that extra step to get around that left pad.
Pittsburgh winning the face-off in the defensive zone. So that power play chance, Bob, it seemed like more of the same. Like the chance is there, the puck possession, but it doesn't mean much on the scoreboard. You can talk about that forever.
No.
They're right to start converting, and of course, the Pens gave up a shorthanded goal on Sunday, which did a lot of damage. And a loss against Washington. Back to 5-on-5, and it's Zach Aston-Reese. Aston-Reese, along with McGinn and Bluger, from the point. Shot attempt from Ruedel is going to go up and out of play. And I mentioned that 13 in power play shots. Not too bad, but dead last in the power play percentage. And Evan Rodriguez came awfully close on that last opportunity. Dustin Tokarski with a save down low. We're scoreless in the first period.
The Pride game continues, scoreless game here in the first period. And during warm-ups, both the Penguins and Sabres wore rainbow-themed jerseys created just for tonight and used Pride tape on their sticks. Those items and more are being auctioned off tonight through November 23rd at noon. Just text Pride Game to 76278 to join or visit pridegame.givesmart.com. A portion of the proceeds will benefit 6 Pride organizations that are connected to both the Penguins and the Sabres. Here's E.
Yeah, Dan, thank you very much. One of those, the You Can Play project, which has just done some great things over the last 10 years almost in the NHL. The NHL's been at the forefront. Patrick Burke, Brian Burke at the forefront as well. Gensel back to Dumoulin, sets it up for Letang. The drive blocked by Hayden. And now it's Buffalo looking to roll out with Mark Pesic And Arttu Ruotsalainen, joined by Anders Bjork and John Hayden, fourth line on for the Sabres.
Crosby in a little conversation with the Sabres bench there. He got a little riled up from the last game.
Yes, he did.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, he was trying to spark his team against the Washington Capitals. Nothing was really going for the Pens on Sunday night. Bryson to Bjork. Wrist shot is gloved down by Tristan Jarry. Let's take a look back at what took place there at the Pens captain. Got a feisty start to the season.
Yes, in front of the cage. Rasmus Dahlin, a little couple of whacks on the stick and back and forth.
That's usually a good sign when 87 is fired up and trying to ignite his group.
Trying to lead by example. Let's go, boys. Time to fire it up. Get this thing going.
Kasperi Kapanen picking up speed, joined by Jason Zucker and Jeff Carter. Got it over to Marino. Marino forced to the boards. Chipped down behind the goal for Carter. Carter now looks for a play. Pass attempt was blocked by the stick of Will Butcher. And Drake Caggiula from center ice. And steal at the reach of Marcus Pettersson. Pettersson along with Marino defending. Caggiula tries a centering pass. Corralled by Cousins. Got the shot off and denied by Jarry. Banged off the glass by Zucker. He's at the end of his shift, as is Jeff Carter, who stays out there. 6.5 to go in the first. Not pretty evenly played, just the one power play chance along to Pittsburgh. Number one line now on for Buffalo. Tage Thompson got it deep. Pickoff here, Asplund. Getting tangled up along the wall. They're just trying to reduce the high danger chances against. 25 of them over the last 2 games. Get back that tight defense that we saw earlier in the season. Great speed from Matheson, taking it wide. Turns away from Miller and turned it over to Miller, but he coughed it up to Bluger. Bluger grinding. Poked it back to Matheson. Quick shot, change direction. Lou Weedle. His shot is knocked down by Jacob Bryson.
Boy, Bryson, he shortened up on the stick like he was bunting a baseball.
It's McGinn to Matheson. His shot goes off the end wall. Penguins back on the forecheck. With Aston Reese, Bluger, McGinn. Comes back to Brock McGinn. Finds Matheson. Matheson, wrist shot save made by Tokarski. He's been busy and has been very sharp in the first.
He looks bigger than that. His pants, his belly pad. And how about Jarry making this save on Dylan Cousins?
The Penguins hosting it here this year. And our social media post brought to you by Point Park University. Hashtag Pride Game. Hashtag Show Your Pride. Thanks for the tweets, everybody. I mentioned the You Can Play project. The NHL has been at the forefront on this now for a while. I remember talking to Patrick Burke on NHL Network almost 10 years ago. And the message from the group is simple. If you can play, and you're going to be welcome. And the Penguins, great initiative here tonight. Evenly played thus far. Shots on goal 11-7. Favor Pittsburgh. You've had the game's lone power play chance. Dahlin connecting with Oposo. And he's stripped to the puck by Pettersson. The outlet pass. Here comes Dominic Simone. Simone runs into Pesek. Heinen tries to feed into the middle. 3 Sabres there. One of them Oposo, who takes the biscuit and will sweep it in. First goal has been very important for both of these teams. Pittsburgh 5-1-0 this year. When they score first, Buffalo 4-1-1. Penguins have yet to win a game and giving up the first goal, one of the 4 teams. Ryan Dumoulin back to collect for Pittsburgh. Top defensive pair, Dumoulin and Letang. Outlet is off of Crosby and now taken by Hayden over the line. Sabres fan out, lifted down to the corner. Hayden on the cutoff, throws it into Letang. And now the puck is loose to Ruotsalainen. Lion tried the centering pass, missed by Bjork, comes back to Butcher. Butcher looks and stopped by Jarry. Wasn't sure where it was. Sitting around in front. Jarry's able to smother it.
Hayden may have got a piece of that initial shot from Butcher. He was just trying to get it through a screen. Pretty positionally sound game for both teams here. You see Butcher gets it by the oncoming defender, and there's Hayden digging away. And a play to the whistle. We've seen that many a time. Rodriguez has been really good at that this year. Scored one goal, and we thought he had another. Playing to that whistle. You got to get to the front of the net. That's how you score goals in the league. I mean, you get a pretty good guy in Patrick Hornquist. He used to like to play to the whistle and through the whistle and after the whistle and whenever, right?
They say that's where the money's made.
That's how you score goals, and that's how others score goals.
Not even just the front of the net, the low slot. Something like half the goals are scored in that grade A zone, that area. There's Carter getting it off of Tokarski. Bounces right to Kajula, able to ground that rebound. Couldn't find a teammate, and it slipped off the wall to Dumoulin.
Sabres had a guy named Dave Anderchuk was pretty good in front of the cage.
Tapping it to Letang, looks, toe drag, shot was disrupted, goes behind the goal. Jake Kajula up ahead for Dylan Cousins. And there's Cousins, 2-goal game against the Edmonton Oilers on Friday. It was a big win for Buffalo. Kapanen to Zucker. Kasperi Kapanen, 4 goals on the season. Over to Chad Ruedel, poke checked at the top, but backed up by Dumoulin.
That's kind of a risky move up there at the point, trying to make a curl and drag in a 0-0 game.
Sabres started the season 5-1-1. Now they'll just 1 win in their last 7 games. Regulation loss on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs on home ice. Rasmus Asplund off to a very good start. Jump past his man down the boards, Matheson. Asplund, Skinner, and Thompson.
Got to keep your patience in these games, Mearsy. It's like chess. You don't want to risk it, give up that odd man opportunity. You already told me the price you have to pay if you don't score the first goal. How the premium on a first goal is such a premium in this NHL, but you got to play solid here.
Haig with a long shot, skips wide of Jari. He's going to melt that down.
Sometimes you lose your patience.
Now a message from Sheely's Furniture, Appliances, and Mattresses.
Penguins hockey is brought to you by Sheely's Furniture, Appliances, and Mattresses, the official furniture and mattress supplier of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Not just scoring the first goal, just for the Penguins scoring in the first period in general. They have only 11 first period goals, and remember, 4 of them were in one game against the Chicago Blackhawks in the home opener. So we'd love to get some red lights here and get an early lead so they're not chasing.
Tokarski's looked good, hasn't he?
Yes. 12 saves for the 32-year-old Dustin Tokarski. Again, the #1 goaltender for Buffalo, Craig Anderson, is injured. Aaron Dell is the backup. Evan Rodriguez on this face-off. He's able to win it. Danton Heinen gains the line. Heinen had a great start as well with goals in the first 3 games. Bob was talking about Dominic Simon. Good numbers at the start for Pittsburgh. Lately had a hard time cracking the lineup, and he's back in for the first time since November 4th against Philadelphia. Rodriguez spins it around the wall. Dominic Simon back to Rodriguez. Back to Simon. Broken up, maintains his balance. Rodriguez pass to Heinen, tries a shot. To the point, Marino. Funneled down low for Rodriguez. Rodriguez looks for the play, goes back to Marino. A hard pass. Pedersen winds, fires, and Mays in front of Tokarski. Puck is cleared by Buffalo, and they need a line change. Pittsburgh will do the same thing with the forwards.
Now Buffalo's giving you the outside shot, that perimeter play. They're packing the house in there. So you're looking for some sort of bounce, a tip, anything, a rebound opportunity to play off that shot. And Pedersen's got to take that shot from the blue line.
And coming up in the first intermission, presented by your neighborhood Ford store. With Rob and Jay, Dan Potash will be speaking with Brian Dumoulin. We'll have highlights, analysis, much more. Good to see Dumo back the other night against the Washington Capitals. You know what type of a difference he makes for the Pens, who went 29-9-3 with him in the lineup last year.
Logs a lot of minutes. Consistency galore. Plus 67 in his career. A couple of games short of 400.
Ryan Rust will skip this one off the stick of Dahlin. Crosby recovers it for the Pens. Separated from the puck, Dahlin. Hessick and then Bjork in a 3-on-2 for the Sabres. John Hayden taking it wide, looking for Bjork, and was fired on the pass. Dumoulin will spin it up the wall for Rust. Minute to go in the first here for PPG Paints Arena. Lone home game before the Penguins hit the road for 9 of the next 11, including a Canadian road trip that'll start on Thursday in Montreal. Jacob Bryson surrounded by black and gold. Still got it below the goal line, but the Penguins will be able to roll out with Kapanen. Joined by Carter, he goes there. Down the wing, Jeff Carter looking to go back for Kapanen, didn't work. Kapanen will take it. And now stick handling behind the goal. Pass to Blue Weedle, off his foot, back to Kapanen. 30 to go in the period. Right in front, Zucker, stuff attempt, that's denied by Tokarski. Matheson trying to contain it, couldn't. Chopped forward by Hinostroza. 14 shots on goal for the Pens, and unable to beat Tokarski, who's very good in this first period. Carter wraps up Dahlin. 7 seconds to go. Robert Haig from center ice. We'll throw this one in off the pads to Tristan Jarry. Back in front. One last try for Kajula. Couldn't get it on net. And there's the horn. So yeah, Dustin Tokarski looking very good.
Well, he
14
is.
saves.
Yeah, he's able to fight through a lot of traffic. Zucker controls the puck. Pads on the ice. He's not a big man at 6 foot tall, but he's been huge in the first period.
No score after 20. First intermission is coming up next.
Get Go Cafe and Market. Get Go, where the Pens go. And by Toyota. Now's a great time to go Toyota in an all-wheel drive RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
Second period about to begin. Penguins and Sabres are scoreless. It's the second joint pride game with Buffalo and Pittsburgh. A lot to celebrate around the arena and on the concourse level. And here's Penguins president of Hockey Ops, Brian Burke, on the importance of the pride game.
I think Pride Night's a really important initiative for every team in the NHL, and especially the Pittsburgh Penguins. We take pride in being inclusive and having diversity and valuing that. And it's a really important statement, I think, on behalf of our fans and all of our teams that diversity is important and Pride Night is important to us. We believe everyone here is welcome, whether they're watching, whether they're playing. We think everyone from the LGBT plus community is welcome here. It's really important that we celebrate that, reaffirm those values.
Very important message there from Brian Burke here on Pride Night. As we mentioned, one of the beneficiaries of the fundraising tonight will be the You Can Play Project, which was founded by Patrick and Brian Burke to honor their late brother and son, Brendan. Our tweets provided by Point Park University. Love hearing from everybody. We'll get the tweets on the broadcast, hashtag Pride Game, which was such a big success last year, nationally televised. It was in Buffalo, and the Penguins proud to host it here this season, celebrate the LGBTQ plus community, and bring two cities together in the spirit of inclusion and camaraderie. We've got the rally towels. We're very proud to be wearing our pins.
Those warm-up jerseys were, I really like those.
Both sides, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Looks very good. Ready for the start of the second period. 14 saves for Dustin Tokarski. Penguins letting shots 14-10. Here comes Sidney Crosby. Crosby with the centering pass missed by Simone. Crosby with Simone and Heinen.
I was wondering how long this might take. They want to get Crosby, I think, away from Cody Eakin.
Miller with a rising shot.
That line there, Mearsy, and I think they've done that to start this second period.
Now it's straight Kajula. Along the ice was Dumoulin. Kajula indirectly to Colin Miller. At the heavy drive, he scores. There's that shot. Colin Miller. Traffic in front of Jarry. And 28 seconds into the second, it's 1-0 Buffalo.
Well, Crosby had a chance right off the hopper there with Heinen on a 2-on-1. And the puck just would not sit down. It just would not get to the ice quick enough for Simone, excuse me. And then the other way, the Sabres come, and we watch this guy, Miller, shoot the puck time and time again. And Jarry is screened by his own player here. He's just trying to move the Sabre out of the front of the net. And those two bodies in front really deter Jarry's ability to make a save there. And Miller just rockets it to the top shelf, and it's 1-0 Buffalo. You know, faceoffs weren't good for Crosby in that first period. He was 1-6 in the faceoff circle against Cody Eakin, who was 5-1. And we'll see what the lines are here in the second period of play as the Penguins trying to shake things up a little bit.
Overall, Buffalo won 67% of the draws in the first. Colin Miller with his second of the season. take a look again, a little more ice level.
How do you like that pass off the wall? You couldn't make a direct pass to Miller, so with fresh ice, nice little pass off the dash, right out to Miller, and in one motion, he rockets it to the net. Just a beautiful play, really, for the Sabres.
Oh, Miller once scored 20 goals in one junior season. Defenseman who played in the Ontario Hockey League. 4 last year.
Oh, the linesman went down hard here, guys. He's getting up.
Thompson moves to the cross, and the wrist shot by Dahlin is answered by Tristan Jarry. Another one of those chances off the rush for Buffalo that Mike Sullivan was talking about. Very good transition game.
Ryan Daisy went down. I was worried for him there. Just thought maybe he hit his head on the boards as he got caught up the skates there. Yep. Appears to be all right, Mearsy, but that never feels good. I know they were a little bit of padding underneath the pants, but
not much.
That way he went down pretty good there.
Tough line of work, isn't it?
Oh, pucks flying around. It was a nice play. It was Caggiula who made that pass off the wall to Miller. And it's a lot easier when the ice is fresh like that on the very first shift.
So the Buffalo 4-1-1 this season when they get the first goal. And it's Colin Miller who opens the scoring tonight. Aston Reese and Bluger trying to respond. There's a bank pass. Matheson shooting, missed the net. Looks like he had an opening.
It did. Tokarski was kind of flailing at that coming out.
Matheson from the opposite side. He will step in. Feed down low. Aston Reese. Off of Tokarski, collected by Matheson. He'll turn it over to Oposo. Kyle Oposo jousting with Matheson. He pushed it forward for McGinn. And he will be able to scoop it in. The Penguins want a line change. Keep an eye on the line combinations that Mike Sullivan wants to use.
Rodriguez is out with Gensel and Russ, so he's going to stay with what they thought, what they had in mind in the first intermission here.
Gensel gloves this one down, goes to Russ, looks, shoots, save made by Tokarski. John Hayden picks it up and maneuvers out to center. Andrews Bjork goes racing in, part of the Taylor Hall trade last year from the Boston Bruin. John Hayden, separation on Letang. He's going to pivot. Hayden looking for a teammate. Finds one at the top in Bryson. Bryson, the dish to Bjork. There's Miller again at the right point. Couldn't filter that through Gensel. Split him up nicely. Penguins couldn't get it out. John Hayden stripped of the puck by Rust, and here he comes. Rust to Gensel. And go back for Rust, and he was covered nicely by Bryson.
Putting Crosby with Simone is certainly no surprise, Mearsy. Probably one of the reasons why they brought Dominic Simone back here to Pittsburgh. He has that ability to make plays, and has played with Crosby for a good portion of his time here.
Remember 2018, Simone put up his best career numbers at the NHL level and got a good amount of time playing with Sidney Crosby, including in a postseason that year. Crosby off of Bjork, back to Pettersson. Tapped over to Marino, now it's Danton Heinen. Heinen, Crosby, Simone going to work in the offensive zone, trying to tie it up. Marcus Pettersson, feed over, one-ton blast by Marino is stopped by Tokarski. And a penalty will be called.
It's going to be against the Penguins. Miller got high stick. They're going to check and see if it's a 2 or a 4, and it appears to be Heinen going to the box here right now. Just going to be a 2.
Pittsburgh number 43, minor penalty for high sticking.
Great puck possession. They were all over the Sabres in the zone, and the shot got in towards the front of the net, and just reaching right here, trying to lift the stick was Heinen, and clips the face mask. Boy, look at Pettersson. Oh, Ristolainen was looking to get up ice. Didn't even see him. What a great time to step up right there.
That's an element we saw from him when he first arrived in Pittsburgh. So much so that Eric Goodbranson had to teach him some lessons about fighting in case he had to respond to one of those hits.
Exactly.
Didn't see it as much last year. It's good to see Marcus Pettersson using the body, stepping up.
He'll have his head up next time.
Ruotsalainen.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Ruotsalainen will. You know that. Or the next time he comes around, he might bobble it a little bit, even if you're not stepping up, and that's the key. You'd like to say hello early in a game like that.
Good point. High sticking call to Danton Heinen, 3:14. It's Buffalo's first power play chance, and again, pretty good. 12th best in the league. They were good last year. Jeff Skinner shoots, missed the net. They do not have Victor Olofsson. He usually works that right wing side. This is a Poso firing, stopped by Jarry. Wasn't sure where it went. Here's Asplund now at the dot, lost the handle, and Brock McGinn will clear. Penguins PK has taken a hit over the last 2 games, 3 power play goals against over the weekend, but still 7th best Prior to the weekend road trip, there's one power play goal against the previous 9 games. Tage Thompson. Thompson stick handles and passes to Asplund. Blade, look out, goes flying into the stands. And play will continue with the Penguins and Evan Rodriguez. Curl and drag, fire, stopped by Tokarski.
That was a really nice save, a great move by Rodriguez, a move we have seen a few times this year where he holds onto that puck, curls and drags with it.
Knifing his way in is Jeff Skinner, a 40-goal scorer. Now backpedaling, Tage Thompson, 6'7". Thompson to the outside. 32 to go in the Heinen penalty. Jacob Bryson pass over. Skinner to drive, save made by Jari, and the rebound cleared by McGinn.
Well, I'm still looking up in the stands. Some guy got a souvenir, a blade, went flying up there, Mears.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's fine. He's got himself a souvenir here tonight.
Dylan Cousins, second-year forward for Buffalo. Flips in, Jari plays it around the wall. Miller cut it off and goes to Bryson. Jacob Bryson stepping up. Colin Miller in the far circle. 3 seconds left, and Heinen will step out of the box. R2 Ruotsalainen. Jacob Bryson is straight away. Ruotsalainen from the half boards. Toss to the front is blocked by Dumoulin. Another successful kill for Pittsburgh. Penguins can't get it out though. Cousins the pass to Ruotsalainen, denied by Jari. Ryan Dumoulin now in transition as the Penguins roll out. 4 men strong. Far wing, it's Bluger. End of a shift, had to get it deep and does. Head off to the bench. 1-0 Sabres. Colin Miller scored 28 seconds into the second period. Petula will touch, and that is offside.
Rodriguez shorthanded, getting an opportunity here. He played a lot of shorthanded action when he was with the Sabres, and there Tokarski again out there at the top of the crease, making himself big. And then the other way, Tristan Jarry making a big save at the end of that Sabres power play to keep it a 1-0 game, and the penalty kill good again.
He's looking for their first shorthanded goal of the season. Dominic Simon throwing his weight around, glass rattling hit. And it will eventually lead to a Sabres icing call, so we'll bring it back into Tokarski's zone.
Power play scored 4 goals, the penalty kills given up 5. So pretty much a wash on the special teams this year for the Penguins. If you look at those pure numbers that way, but certainly they want to get that power play rolling.
Got to get the power play going. The PK, remember, was 26th last year, and now at times has been the best in the National Hockey League. Crosby a face-off win. Dumoulin shooting, blocked in front by Pesic. Pesic along with Robert Haig defending for Buffalo. Haig top 10 in the league in shot blocks. Dumoulin popped it up to Haig. Could be icing, won't be. Jari will play it ahead of Kachula, but is kept in the zone by Hinostroza. Letang looks up ice. Flip to center, knocked down by Dominic Simon. Now Danton Heinen will tip it into Sabres ice. Quick up for Anders Bjork. Passing to Hinostroza. Steps inside out, tried to move on Dumoulin, gave him nothing.
Oh, that was a great defense by Dumoulin. He just went chest to chest. That's how you defend. You don't look at the guy who's doing this flash and dash. You look at his chest. That's how you defend as a defenseman. That was perfect work there by Dumoulin.
John Hayden. Lead pass is too far ahead for Anders Bjork. John Marino. Look at the charge going for the Pens. Chopped over the line to Carter. Kapanen. Collision with Hayden. Pettersson on the hold in the direction of Jeff Carter. Takes it off the wall and goes to Zucker. Right a centering pass, and it gets broken up. Taken by Dylan Cousins. Will knuckle its way through center ice. Pettersson and Marino on defense, and the Pens keeping the second line intact with Kapanen, Zucker, and Carter. Kasperi Kapanen roll it to the net as Pettersson was crashing the crease, and Tokarski will cover.
Well, Brian Dumoulin defending as usual. No chance here for Hinostroza.
His face as he continues to work on it here in Movember, but he's also doing work with the Nov.16 campaign rainbow hat. It's being sold here tonight at PPG Paints Arena and is also available online at PittsburghPenguinsFoundation.org. 15% from each Pride hat will directly support the Penguins Foundation. We profiled Jason's charitable efforts with his hats on Inside Penguins Hockey just a year ago. That's a great picture, by the way.
It is Dan. He's done such great work throughout his entire career, going back to his time in Minnesota. King Clancy Award winner for the community involvement. Shot from the blue line, went wide of Dustin Tokarski, who's already up to 20 saves. Tage Thompson rambles his way into Pittsburgh ice. 3 goals in the last 5 games for Thompson, number 72. And nearly picked it off. And have to collect it along the boards. Stepped into by Marino, supported by Asplund, lost control. John Marino to Jeff Carter. Puck is steered in by Marino. Jason Zucker. Collision with Bryson. Thompson to Asplund. Matheson took a swipe at it. We'll get it back into Buffalo ice. And the Sabres are changing. Pittsburgh trying to do the same thing.
Miller with the puck, the goal scorer. That was his second of the season. Now the Sabres have 13 different multiple players with multiple goals, Mearsy, and that's second best in the National Hockey League.
Not too bad. Buffalo trying to change the culture and have a resurgence after struggling so much last year. They got the first overall pick. And gotten contributions from their bottom 6 quite a bit, including guys like this, Cody Eakin and Tyler Oposo. Pesic feeds it over. Rasmus Dahlin, the first to Oposo, rips it toward the goal, but wide. Gergensons. He's got 3 goals. Gergensons gets an opening, gets it right in front. Redirection, Oposo, he scores. How about that tip from Kyle Oposo? 2-0 Buffalo.
Well, Gergensons stuck with that puck behind the net. I thought he was going to short it out short side. He passed it to himself, I believe, off the back of the net. A little bit of an elusive move there. Yeah, he did. He passed it off the back of the net to himself to elude Gensel, who's chasing him all over. It's man-to-man defense, and Oposo comes right in front of the crease. And I don't know what part of the body he got a stick on it. Beautiful redirection. He's always been good at that, has he not?
It certainly was with the New York Islanders. Dealt with a lot of injuries over the last couple of seasons. We talked about Carter's 4-goal game. Oposo's the last player to score 4 against the Penguins. Did so with the New York Islanders.
That is a tough play. For Gergensons, a slick play. Look out here.
Opportunity. Kajula with a shot. Getting back effectively was Bluger. Blocking that, and the puck goes out of play.
Yeah, it's when you're playing man-on-man, and you got Jake's down low, so he's got Gergensons. He passes it to himself off the net, but then Jake goes in front. He's got to go navigate through that traffic. He's got to try to find the guy again, and here's the last opportunity. Stick on puck for Bluger. You know, Penguins were very quiet in the morning skate today. It was a little bit of a hush, I thought, in the crowd. It's just a different mood for them. And I don't know, sometimes that can be okay if it's businesslike, but I just found it a little bit different than things have been, Mearsy, and it feels a little bit quiet in here right now. I just think somebody needs to just maybe run somebody into about the 5th row, get the crowd going, get the wave going, and let's have a comeback victory here.
You find a way to spark the group, which is what Crosby was trying to do on Sunday.
Yes.
And that's not the guy that should have to do that.
No, and he got in a little stick swinging thing there with Dahlin earlier in the game, but we haven't really seen a lot of hatred here. Sometimes you just have to create it, fabricate it, get it going, you know? Especially when you're down 2-0.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If you're up 2-0, you know, let that dog sleep.
That's sleeping dogs lie,
That's
exactly.
Right. Don't poke the bear, right?
Yeah,
Where is the bear?
All the lines.
We need the bear, by the way. Come on, Gino, let's go.
How about Aston Reese? Trying to slip it in front. Past the halfway point, regulation time. Zach Aston Reese, a stiff body check on Anders Bjork. Salainen will drop it back. Again, this is different than the Sabres team of last year that struggled so much. And it seemed like an easy 2 points every night. Started 5-1-1. And have had a much more competitive team since they made the coaching change last year. Don Granato's done a really good job. And the young players have gotten better with him.
And when you have a goaltender making saves like Tokarski has early in the game, that gives you something to hold your hat on.
Pedersen to the blue line. Slaps down the corner for Rodriguez. Tangled up with Will Butcher. Roots the line and clears to center ice. And now John Marino. You see Rodriguez back with Simone and Heinen. Mike Sullivan shuffled the lines a bit for the first 5 minutes or so of the second period. Penn's leading scorer, Evan Rodriguez, tried to go to the point. Pittsburgh changing the defense. John Marino's still out there. Now he will drift over to the bench as Dumoulin got it deep, and Jason Zucker's looking for a play. Kapanen stepped into by Haig. Jeff Carter from the boards. Tried his shot, blocked, and skips out to center ice. Chris Letang will retrieve. Letang points in 5 of the last 6 games. Ryan Dumoulin skates in. Dumoulin, the outside on Haig. Poke check by Tage Thompson. Puck is on the dasher. Trying to fish it out, Zucker. Carter does right in front for Zucker, and it will deflect to the corner.
Skinner's yelling for a hand pass there on the boards that wasn't called, and I don't know if he's right or wrong.
Kapanen, nice maneuver down the wall. And it takes a shove, still working hard. Letang with the shot, stopped by Tokarski. There's Carter in front. It seems like he's been all year. Tokarski appears to be wincing a bit, trying to stretch something out, and the Sabres take mild exception. Looks like Tokarski's all right. But Kyle Oposo with the goal. 2-0 Buffalo in the second. AHN scoreboard. It's our second joint pride game. Buffalo Sabres and Pittsburgh Penguins teaming up, and you can be a part of the broadcast, be a part of this great night. Hashtag Pride Game, hashtag Pittsburgh Pride.
Crosby back with Rust and Gensel against the Eakin line.
This is the line that produced the most recent goal for Buffalo. They're trapped in their own zone. Letang tries a shot, and it's blocked by the shin pad of Pesic. We have a penalty upcoming, both referees with the arms up.
Buffalo number 20, minor penalty slashing.
And it's Cody Eakin.
Take a look. Yep, that little downward motion, usually called all the time when you knock the stick out of the player's hands. Russ reaching for that with the one hand.
Slashing the call to Cody Eakin, and the Penguins' second power play chance. What a wonderful time it would be to break out of this power play drought and get on the board against Dustin Tokarski. Good pass, Crosby, Gensel flying in, snaps the shot that's blocked by Haig. There he is again. One of the leading shot blockers in the league.
A stick on puck, just onside. Little tip play. If you have control, you can bring that puck in behind you, even though your skates are in front of it. Penguins need one, to say the least.
I hate to belabor it, but dead last in the league, 8.7% entering the game. Over the last 26 now on the power play. Actually reminiscent of 2 seasons ago, they went 11 games without a power play goal.
A lot of momentum is lost too when you don't score in that power play. And the team over the years has really relied on certainly an above-average power play.
See what Jake Gensel can do. Down the wing. Gensel will use the end boards. Crosby swipes it back to Letang. Chris Letang with the fake. And the double clutch. Brian Rust bumps it back to Letang. Rust off the board. Tried to spin it in front for Gensel. That gets broken up, and Kyle Oposo rambles his way into Pittsburgh ice to waste some time. Off the turnover, though, Crosby skates in, confidently turns, goes to Rust. Letang, 56 seconds to go, and the Pens' second power play chance to the goal line. Carter, and couldn't finish on the one-timer set up by the captain.
You can't set it up any better than that. I mean, that's just a quick movement to the goal line, back out to the hash mark, and a great shot by Carter that's denied by Tokarski again as he gets his blocker side on that. And that's just a perfect play. And that's all you can ask for in that situation. That blocker has come in to play a few times here tonight for Tokarski. He's been in good position.
I was talking about the power play shots earlier. One of the reasons I brought that up is because usually when the Penguins struggle on the power play, it's because they're not shooting the puck. But they have, at least relative to their power play percentage this year, more so than you would think when you're dead last. It's not at the back of the net. Danton Heinen, Jason Zucker, Kasperi Kapanen, Evan Rodriguez, 4 forwards out here. Lone defenseman John Marino. Drake Caggiula is going to send the puck down the length of the pond. 24 seconds ago, and the slashing penalty to Cody Eakin, one of the better penalty-killing forwards. Picking up the puck with speed is Kapanen, smoothly through center, into the attacking zone. To the forehand he goes, slides it over to Zucker. Zucker to Marino. Marino in front for Heinen. Cut off before it got to Tokarski, and the penalty will come to an end. Pittsburgh 0 for 2 with the man advantage. John Marino connects with McGinn. He strides Zucker. Poke check. Cody Eakin sends it through the neutral zone. And how about that was a power play where they do seem to lose momentum, not enough as far as attack. And if anything, you hand momentum back the other way.
Had the one good chance from Crosby to Carter. That Tokarski has been so calm in that cage. His positionally has been perfect, and here come the Sabres again.
Cody Eakin racing up ice is Pesic. Eakin just content to shoot in off the end boards. The defenseman Pesic bounces off the Letang hit. Now has to deal with two Penguins. In to help out Jeff Skinner. Brock McGinn, one of those Penguins, floats it around the boards. Luger was hit hard by Hayden. Skinner with an opening, but turned it over. And striding out the center is Zach Aston-Reese. Aston-Reese bounces off the hit from Butcher. Left it from McGinn, slides it to the line. Dumoulin hesitates, goes to McGinn. Toss on net, save made by Tokarski. No rebound.
Dustin Tokarski has faced 23 Penguin shots. None funner than this one. That blocker save again.
In the town of Basic, families gather.
Who is in attendance tonight, and after being delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2021 was officially inducted last night in Toronto. Two former Penguins, Jerome McGinley and Marian Hossa, and four others capped off weekend-long celebration. Now, names that could make up the class of 2022 are already being thrown around unofficially. One name I've heard and seen, Sergei Gonchar. That wouldn't be a bad choice.
No question, Dan. I agree with you. Sedine's in the mix there. Roberto Luongo, among others, for next year. That was a great ceremony last night. Gensel trying to get a shot off, and it was blocked by Colin Miller. Tage Thompson now barrels his way through center.
Happy
pressure,
birthday,
turned it over.
Happy birthday, Pierre LaRouche was in the booth there with Mario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Looks about 39. He does.
Puck is battled for in the corner. Crosby had to wait for it. Crosby grinding. Tage Thompson stifled along the boards. Crosby with the opening. Goes Letang. Looks and tries to pass. Goes wide of the post.
Yeah, tried to find Gensel on the back door.
Letang will drop it back. 3:43 to go, second period. Buffalo a 2-0 lead. Miller and Oposo. Both the goals coming here in the middle frame. The puck is snapped in by Zucker. Kapanen fresh off the bench. Carter reaching for it. Wrap around Carter, and Tokarski again. Wasn't sure where it was. They fished it out, and it's Matheson.
I know.
Over to Ruhwedel. Shot is blocked. Carter kicks it to his blade.
Wow, I know where it was. I don't know if it was a little tank-type goal that it could have been over the line, but they're going to look at it. It was under the pad, right on the goal line, Mearsy.
It's Jeff Carter. Penguins now with some energy. Matheson tried the shot, broken stick. He's empty-handed, and he just decks Drake Caggiula. What a hit. Zucker over to Carter, to the middle. Just missed by Kapanen. Good pick up by Colin Miller, trying to relieve the pressure.
Now the crowd's on their feet with that hit by Matheson.
3-on-2 for Buffalo. Drake Caggiula to the inside and getting back with Zucker.
Another hit by Ruhwedel. Here you go. It's infectious right now. Look out.
Puck is sent down the distance. Icing will be called. That's going to quiet things down. We got to take another look at this wraparound from Jeff Carter.
Yeah, he thinks it might be an easy. He's already arguing it right now as he wraps his puck around. Where is it? Where's the pad? It's awfully close. I can't see it across, but maybe you can see something different in this look. Ooh. No, it's not. It's right on the line, Mearsy.
Wow.
He didn't get across. No, you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to tell Mr. Granato that puck is across the line. They're going to take a look at it here in the penalty box, and they're just going to listen.
Plays now under review to determine the puck was across the line.
It doesn't look like it to me that puck is all the way across the line by anything we've seen so far.
No, it's got to be conclusive evidence. You got to see it with that separation between the goal line and the puck.
It's under his skate right there. That's the problem, and that overhead.
After reviewing the play, the puck never crossed the goal line. No goal.
Okay.
Referee Pierre Lambert making the announcement. So that is a remarkable save from Dustin Tokarski.
Well, is it ever? That's a flexibility there for Tokarski to make that save on Carter that got there pretty quickly. Carter thought he scored a goal in the last hockey game that went off the crossbar.
Oh, in Ottawa.
Remember. In Ottawa,
yeah.
Excuse me, yeah. And it was a 0-0 game at that point. So he just can't find any luck right now.
And the 4-goal game back in May against the Buffalo Sabres, scored 5 in total in the season series after the trade on April 12th from the Los Angeles Kings.
Did you hear the crowd though, and then the hop and the step of the players when Matheson made that hit? It was just a completely different vibe in here.
And the Penguins a little bit more jump in their step. Get on the board. Pettersson with the shot. 3 Sabres again in front of Tokarski, and they will clear.
Well, maybe a little bump on Tokarski. You know, he's a little comfy in that net. If he's outside the blue paint, you can get in there, establish your position. Nothing to say you can't accidentally on purpose fall on him, Mearsy.
And just in general, you said, send somebody into the 5th row if you have to. Mike Matheson was listening.
He was
apparently.
Listening.
Good advice. The Penguins looking for a spark here. Late goal would be gigantic. Sabres have had trouble this season with protecting leads, especially after 2 periods of play. Puck is lobbed in by Anders Bjork. Cody Eakin need to apply some pressure, but Marino got it to Pettersson. He'll try to stretch it out. He loses the grasp from Simone, but he's persistent and he's got it. Dominic Simone, a centering pass in front, redirection Heinen, and he was pulled down, and that will be called by the trail referee. Tripping will be the call. Penguins to the power play for the 3rd time on the night.
Yeah, nice job there to get the puck up. Simone's got great vision, and Heinen to drive the cage. You know, and you couldn't have drawn it up any better. Get yourself on the power play here, late in the period, and let your power play take over, get you back in this hockey game. Yeah, there's a look at Heinen going down, and I didn't see a lot there, Mearsy, but he went to the net and he got the call. That's all that matters right now.
You see the personnel out there. 5 players for the Penguins power play. 0 for 2, 4 shots on net. Penguins have been better in the 2nd period on the face-offs than they were in the 1st. And we'll see if Carter can win this one with $1:32 to go in the 2nd period. And the Pens trying to break the ice against Dustin Tokarski, who's made 25 saves. Kyle Oposo is going to have to lean in against Jeff Carter. Carter pulled it back, but it sat there for Zemgus Girgensons. And through center ice, and we'll just shovel it in. Mark Pesic for tripping. 3rd power play chance for Pittsburgh. Long pass. Carter to Gensel. He's in and stopped by Tokarski. And Gensel runs over Tokarski after the save was made.
Yes, he did. He tried to turn it quickly to the forehand. He wasn't stopping, and he's not apologizing either. If he is, he doesn't mean it, because he knew exactly where he was going after he was stopped. And Granato knows exactly that. He knows exactly what happened there. Yes, he does. There's the turn to the forehand, and he just bowled him right over. And there's that contact. We saw it from Gensel the other night.
In
Same
overtime.
thing. He didn't stop at all. He was penalized there. Here he wasn't. You got to make an attempt to get out of the way. It's your responsibility to get out of the way if the goalie's playing his position at the top of that blue paint. And Granato wasn't happy. I don't blame him, to be honest with you. And I don't blame the Penguins for and Gensel for continuing on there. But that was another good save by Tokarski.
Letang to Rust. Surveys, goes to Chris Letang, fires, missed the net. Minute to go in the period. Pens on the power play. Pass to the line will be tipped out by Girgensons, and then the Pens will touch offside. And they're going to call intentional. It's going to go all the way back into the Penguin zone.
Yeah, I think that was the right call there, too. If you touch it intentionally, knowing that it was an offside, when you touch it, they're going to bring it all the way back. And yeah, Don Granato is still saying he ran him over here. What about us? Well, like we said earlier in a couple games ago, when you're not winning hockey games, you're struggling, you don't tend to get those penalties. You really don't. You got to earn them. Earn the respect sometimes, even with the officials.
Tang smoothly out to the neutral zone, will bump it back. Sidney Crosby, third game of the season. Maneuvers in, flings it across for Rust. Rust to the forehand, taps it up high, Letang. Gensel from the circle, 35 to go in the period. On off the stick of Rust, now battles for it, keep it in the zone.
Elbow.
But an elbowing call against Brian Rust, and he can't believe it.
Yeah, it's even up call. Yeah, you can't believe it.
Pittsburgh 17 minor penalty holding.
I thought it got his arm up high. I thought it might have been an elbow initially when I saw it. It was a battle, two people battling for one puck. And they didn't call the Gensel penalty on the goaltender, so they're going to call, oh, there's the elbow into the face, but they call the hold. He doesn't even call the elbow. It was an arm. It was an elbow right in the face.
Yeah, I was thinking elbow, roughing, but the terminology is irrelevant. It is minor penalty to Brian Rust.
I tell you, right before we got Sullivan on the camera here, he was steaming, absolutely steaming. And now with 31 seconds left, we'll play some 4-on-4 hockey.
Evan Rodriguez, Teddy Bluger, Chris Letang, Brian Dumoulin. 23 to go in the period. We go rink wide to Rodriguez, the former Sabre. Crisscrossing with Bluger, who will take the dropper. Bluger chips it up high, not hard enough. Stumbling, though, is Tage Thompson. Bryson was impeded by Bluger. 7 seconds left in the second. Colin Miller's got a goal tonight. Pass was picked off by Bluger. Rodriguez, maybe a chance. Forced to the outside, couldn't get a shot off. And the Sabres will enjoy a 2-0 lead into the dressing room after 40.
They've defended hard, they've taken advantage of their opportunities, and their goaltender really has been stellar in this hockey game, and they hold 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it's different than the Sabres team of last year. They work hard, play with a free spirit. We heard that a couple of times earlier today, and Tokarski's been good. 2-0 after 40. And the entire movement.
The Burke family has stayed involved and actively involved, and I think that's why our energy has stayed high. Of course, not just within hockey, but then within other sports that we work with too. But no, Patrick and Brian are great leaders, and we love having them on the team. And again, the voice, just like the video that he had earlier, and they're very vocal about their support for the organization and the movement in general.
And it was yesterday afternoon here at PPG Paints Arena. There was a You Can Play Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion rally that was held. See Kevin Acklin there. Message from Brian Burke, president of Hockey Ops. He and Patrick started the You Can Play project back in 2012. It's a tremendous initiative, and if you're unfamiliar, the message is simple. If you can play, you can play. You're going to be welcome in this game and in this community. There's a tweet from You Can Play. Patrick Burke, of course, in the NHL's Department of Player Safety. But he and his father, visionaries, when they began that 2012. So the Penguins and the Sabres very proud to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community, bringing the two cities together as they did last year. It's been a fun atmosphere, and the Penguins have thrown everything, including the kitchen sink and every other appliance, at Dustin Tokarski to try to get a spark here. Well, ignite this crowd, but Tokarski just not letting anything pass. 26 saves.
He only has one previous shutout to his record, and that it was back in March of 2014. He was with the Montreal Canadiens, and he shut out, the Buffalo Sabres, 2-0.
You got to go back to 2003, the last time the Sabres shut out the Penguins. That was our friend Marty Biron in the net, January 21st, 2003. 4-on-4 hockey to begin the third. For the first 28 seconds with Mark Pesic in the box, still serving his time. Brian Rust in for holding. Jeff Carter is going to lean in He has led all Penguins 4 shots on goal. Evan Rodriguez has had 3. Marcus Pettersson has had 3. Penguins were much better in the face-off circle in that second period. It's something I alluded to earlier. Buffalo has had a hard time protecting leads, particularly in the third. They have 3 losses this year when leading after 2. Underway here, third period, the fresh ice and some 4-on-4 hockey, and gliding in down the wing is Carter with the Crosby is shot high and wide. Jeff Carter was robbed by Tokarski a couple of times in that second period. Mike Matheson funnels it deep, Letang pinching, tried to pass for Carter. And now Kyle Oposo has Pesic, thought about going there. He's going to carry through center ice. It's Oposo with 1 goal tonight, now 4 on the season. Rasmus Dahlin over to Tage Thompson. He will turn, and it's an abbreviated power play chance for Buffalo, their second of the game. Kyle Oposo trying a fancy move away from Letang and slither out the center. Buffalo tags up, and on the re-entry, it's Dahlin. Dahlin joined by Asplund. Got a piece of the puck, but it right to Brock McGinn, and he shoves it down the distance here in the first minute of the third. Rasmus Dahlin, such a smooth skater. Turnover, Bluger, breakaway, in on goal, stopped by Tokarski again.
Wow, Dahlin just put it on his platter for the Penguins and Bluger. Good pressure by Bluger down ice.
Dahlin to Asplund. Scampers in, hits the brakes, pass gets disrupted, nudged out by Bluger. Rust is out of the box, here he comes. Joined by Dumoulin, he goes there, off his stick and goes to the boards.
It's a sloppy play by the Sabres. You talked about their inability to protect these leads.
Ruhwedel's shot is blocked, and Dahlin feeling the effects of that right now. The hold by Chad Ruhwedel. Brian Rust in the direction of Rodriguez. Rodriguez slides it over to Ruhwedel. To Dumoulin. Has a diagonal pass. Rust will collect it. And tried to go to Rodriguez, who's through his skates and trickles to center ice. A little extra jump from the Penguins here. After the PK, start the third period. Brian Rust slams on the brakes, goes to Pettersson, his shot stopped by Tokarski. 4th shot of the game for the Dragon.
Dahlin's still on the ice. He's changing now, and it's a bad change.
It's Rodriguez with the shot, and the save by Tokarski. Energetic start from Pittsburgh here in the third.
Yeah, they had 2-man swing, and then it was Carter to Crosby. That did not miss by much. Supermo presented by AHN gave you a look at that. It just went by the post, and then the breakaway by Bluger tried to go up high by that glove hand, and it caught the left shoulder.
Eddie Bluger scored 3 shorthanded goals last year, 3 of the 6 that the Penguins had. Only a few players had more.
How wide he looks so wide, Beersy. I know he's only 6 foot tall. He looks 6 feet wide in the net.
I was surprised when I saw that. He's 6 feet tall, 198. You always thought of him as a bigger goaltender, and that's a credit to him. He looks bigger in the crease, and he certainly has here tonight. Now, a word from attorney David Schrager.
I'm attorney David Schrager. Call my law firm for a free consultation. Don't be scared. Be prepared.
Pittsburgh 28, minor penalty for interference.
It's going to be an interference call. Pettersson's going to the box here right now, guys. He's trying to help his defense partner out. There's the interference. They called an interference earlier in the game on a face-off play. If you're the man chasing down there, as the Sabres were there, you could see that Hinostroza really made it evident that he was interfered with. He went down on the ice. That's the only way you can draw a penalty like that, by keeping your feet moving.
Saw Mike Sullivan's reaction there on the bench. Sabres power play 0 for 2, 2 shots on goal. Penguins will call upon their PK, which has been rock solid this year.
Well, Bluger had that chance shorthanded. That one certainly would have brought the house down and got the Penguins back into it quickly.
Would have been just what the Pens needed here. Bluger is out there along with Brock McGinn. Brian Dumoulin and John Marino. They stop behind the goal. Jari, though, throws it off of Oposo. Oposo, Dylan Cousins, Zemgus Girgensons. And it's Girgensons swooping in and feeds it over to Miller.
No stick for McGinn, who gave his to Dumoulin.
Bryson to Oposo with a goal tonight. Pass off the boot of Bluger. And will ricochet back into the Sabre zone. Tokarski the quick up. Colin Miller whips it in. Jari couldn't stop that one. It was on the edge of the dasher. Evan Rodriguez flying up ice. Lost control of the puck. Dahlin away his options. Dahlin was minus 36 last year. Trying for some stability, hoping for a change in just the overall culture around the Buffalo Sabres. Don Granato's done a nice job. Asplund hit aggressively by Ruedel. Letang rattles it off the glass. Buffalo changing, maybe a 2-on-1 for Pittsburgh. Rodriguez delays, fires, stopped by Tokarski, and he clutches it.
Well, the Sabres, again, just a horrendous change here. Leads to a 2-on-1. One of the players that lost his helmet. So he went to the bench. Nobody was ready to jump on the ice for him, so the Penguins are going to take advantage. Rodriguez waits because he saw Zach Aston-Reese go to the net, and he almost handcuffed Tokarski here. You thought that one was going to sneak through on the glove hand, but it didn't.
Another chance for Evan Rodriguez. That drag move. And he's got 3 shots on goal. Dustin Tokarski with 29 saves.
Look at this.
Blueger in front, McGinn, and denied by Tokarski. Another point-blank stop.
The Sabres are trying to protect the lead with their power play. The Penguins are better 4-on-5 right now, getting the better chances.
They have thrown everything at him.
Because when you're on the power play, you don't play that structured defense that you normally do on the 5-on-5. And boy, they're not trying to score. They're trying to just keep things even, Steven, and win a 2-0 game. And almost handed it back to the Penguins, if not for Tokarski's goaltending.
When we talk about momentum, it's the Penguins with it now after the successful penalty kill. Marcus Pettersson out of the box in front for Rodriguez. Jumped on by Crosby. Crosby, his first of the season. Stabbed off his blade by Pesic. Thrown into traffic by Matheson. He gets it back and will bump it down the boards for Gensel. Gensel away from Ruotsalainen and behind the goal. Crosby in his office, floats it in front. He eludes the grasp of Rodriguez and Bjork. And will sky it into Pittsburgh ice.
Boy, I love the Penguins' pressure on their penalty kill. They know the situation. They turned over a couple of pucks here now. Forced the hands of the Sabres and another penalty here. And who's this one going against?
Buffalo had control of the puck. Looked like Matheson was impeded, and it will be a Penguin power play chance.
Well, things are turning. You can feel it. You can feel it.
Buffalo number 96, minor penalty for hooking.
Not a good penalty there by Bjork. You got to know the situation, and now look at the Penguins. Look at Blueger. He had a breakaway with pressure. He turns that one over to McGinn with pressure. All over the puck right now.
Hooking the call to Anders Bjork at 5:10. 4th power play chance for the Penguins. They captured off the draw. It's Crosby working the top. Rust to the inside. Letang winds, fires, block, comes to Crosby. To the net, and Tokarski makes the save with Gensel in his face.
Well, listen here. He's look at that chest protector. He looks like a big turkey on Thanksgiving, doesn't he? Look at the size of that breast. That is unbelievable. Look at him. This puck comes in here, and it just goes right into it like a mattress. Like Arthur Zerbe had a big belly pad like that. It just went in there and absorbed the puck. Supermo presented by AHN. Tokarski again.
Thanksgiving right around the corner.
Well, look at that hit.
Aggressive steal. Dex Miller allows for Letang to walk the line. Crosby spins away from Gergensen. Crosby's got it back. Determined here on this power play. Letang to Russ, to Carter. Looks, fires. That was blocked, goes up and out of play. Sabres have definitely packed the house. A lot of bodies have been helping out Dustin Tokarski.
Great puck movement, Mearsy, on this power play for the Penguins. They're really moving it quickly, and it's tape to tape. And when you do that, you accomplish something. I'm not sure if that hit anything or got caught up on his blade. It was really hard to tell there.
Grazed Tokarski.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't doubt that either.
On the board, it's 32 saves for Dustin Tokarski. Gensel from a knee, goes to Crosby, who still works the top of the zone. Sidney Crosby to Russ, tried the pass, blocked by Haig. Crosby in front, again, redirection, score! Jake Gensel says thank you very much. Power play goal, and it's 2-1.
Tokarski wants him to look at it because it went off Gensel's skate. But it was a quick play. They wanted to go back door. Didn't look like a distinct kicking motion to me. Let's see as this puck comes across. Quick passes again for the Penguins. Oh, it might have been. There was a little bit of a motion there with the back skate. He just turned his blade though. It's an angle, not a distinct kicking motion. You're allowed to angle your blade. Yeah, not a distinct kicking motion. That's a goal. And I've loved the way the NHL has changed things over the last couple of years, allowed that goal to stay. They're going to look at it. We have to wait here. They point to center ice. Let's play on, boys. And I guess that's how you beat Tokarski. Just throw it off the blade and in.
Well, that's exactly why that rule was amended, for plays just like that. You angle the skate, and the Penguins finally break the power play drought. On their 4th power play chance tonight, it's Jake Guentzel who gets his 5th of the season. He's got 4 goals in the last 7 games.
Well, you could feel things turn, couldn't you? After that penalty kill for the Penguins, they had the chances. And that's a skill to score a goal like that.
Exactly.
I never liked when they took those kind of goals away, because that is a skillful play to be able to do that.
There's some life in the building, and for the Penguins, but even before that, you said it, they were building right from the start of the 3rd period. Started off with a big penalty kill, and now their first red light. Rust off the boot of Guentzel. They'll take it 2-1 in the 3rd. There's no better from you, his wife Natalie, and if you missed it earlier, we mentioned the report that is out. Some big news on the ownership front for the Penguins. Talks are in the advanced stages for Fenway Sports Group to buy the team. And the word is Mario Lemieux would remain involved in ownership, which is great news. Also, senior management would remain involved. Great to hear. So very exciting news at Fenway Sports Group. Owners of the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool FC. We will stay tuned on the potential details there. In the meantime, all Pittsburgh right now. Dumoulin with a drive stopped by Tokarski. Crosby tried a shot from the boards. That was rejected. It will be skated out by Hinostroza. Hinostroza waiting, goes to Kachula, jumps the stick. Went by 2 Penguins behind the goal, sidestep the Dumoulin hit, and it's off the wall to Crosby. Crosby registering his first point of the season with the assist on the Guentzel goal. Pittsburgh had gone 0 for 28 on the power play, and they capitalized. Looking to tie it up. Letang had Guentzel in his sights.
And they're moving now, are they not? They are on their toes.
Go, go, go!
Nice steal by Rust, but his pocket was picked, and Dylan Cousins will lob it in. Fans energized. Let's go Pens, the chant. Zucker pulls up to Letang, now Carter. Carter fires it in. He's led all Penguins in shots on goal. Dahlin to Jeff Skinner. Skinner lead pass. Rasmus Asplund will drop it off. Dave Thompson is knocked off stride by Pettersson. Kapanen helping out. Puck will trickle to the slot. And Jeff Carter fires it off the wall. Almost connected with Zucker. He will grab it in front for Carter. Denied again by Tokarski. This guy is seeing beach balls, particularly against 77.
Well, he is. That was a great attempted pass by Carter up behind Zucker so that he could take it behind the Buffalo defense. Take a look at this. He goes behind Zucker, and then Zucker goes to the front of the net to Carter, who follows on. He beats Skinner to the front of the net. Skinner not able to get there in time, and Carter denied by Tokarski. And Tokarski, many times we've seen him be able to just burst from the goal line to the top of the crease and make a couple of saves tonight. We saw him do that Bluegram again on that short-handed chance earlier this period.
Now Dominic Simone goes to work in the attacking zone. Simone for Danton Heinen. He'll shift positions. Heinen works it back to the top for Ruhwedel. Point-to-point Matheson. Rich shot stopped by Tokarski.
For this, he's just gobbling them up.
Yeah. And now a message from Rivers Casino.
Find the flavors you've been missing, all right here at Rivers Casino.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
You're making me laugh. I got to do the promo.
Well, they got one by him, so there goes. He's fixing up his paraphernalia right now. Listen, look at this. He's got everything going right now. He seems still composed. He calmly talked to the official about maybe looking at that to see if it was kicked in. It certainly wasn't. Shots in the third period. Look at that.
How about
10-0.
How about shot attempts in the game? 59-26. A good indication of the way the Penguins have played. Dustin Tokarski has been the story. Dominic Simon, thunderous check below the goal line. Loosens the puck. Rodriguez working hard. Evan Rodriguez also a lot of chances tonight. Danton Heinen trying to fish it out. Same thing with Simon. Oposo couldn't shuffle it through. And it's Chad Ruedel. He delays. He fires. Stopped by Tokarski somehow. Simon still working hard. Heinen applying some pressure. Swatted away from Matheson. He will hustle back to retrieve it for Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's a great shift.
Quick up Rodriguez with Buffalo completing a line change. Rodriguez to the middle. Here's Gensel. His shot. Second try. Pad save by Tokarski. Doesn't know where it is to loose and swept out of the crease by the Sabres.
Gensel is so tricky. He's so tricky with his hands and quick in around that goal. He's so tight and look out. You know, Buffalo just sitting back. They can't withstand this pressure. There's no way.
Flying down the wing, Gensel slams on the brakes. Great pass, Marino. Backpedals to Pedersen. The shot skips in, stop. Now chaos, top of the crease. Penguins trying to find it. It trickles side of the goal. Battle continues over to the corner. Hinostroza will whack it out of the zone.
And Tokarski will grab his stick from behind the net after he used his pads to prevent the puck from going in.
Incredible. 40 shots now on goal for Pittsburgh. Skinner to Thompson. Body position on Zucker. Thompson takes down Letang. Marcus Pedersen will use the boards. Carter hits Kapanen with the pass. 3-on-2. Letang with speed. Shoots, missed it high. Carter on the hold. Zucker looking for Letang. Broken up by Pesic. Shoveled out by Skinner. Ryan Dumoulin charging into the Sabre zone. Back to scoop it up is Mark Pesic. He pops it up under pressure from Kapanen. Nice adjustment by Pesic. Feathers it up the wall. Asplund will chop it down the distance, and that will be an icing call with the Sabres reeling here.
Well, you can't call timeout at an icing, but listen, if I'm Granato, I'm thinking about calling timeout because this is all Pittsburgh right now, and your team is reeling and your goaltender's tired. Take a look at this opportunity as this goes right by the side of the cage, off the glove of Tokarski, and then that Simone line had a great opportunity. Gensel came off the bench. Tokarski has no idea where the puck is. And he's just trying to buy time for himself and his team when he's going to that equipment adjustment thing, because he just did it again.
Robert Haig, contact with Danton Heinen. Here's Dominic Simon. Puck in his feet, punched away by Pesic to the glass. Thompson to Asplund. And Jeff Skinner, Buffalo desperate need of a change. Skinner gets enough of that puck, and now he will head off. Penguins stretch it out again. Simon rammed to the boards by Dahlin. Heinen on the forecheck, and it's Rodriguez who emerges. Skated into by Rasmus Dahlin. Dahlin with the red line, snaps it in. Comes around to John Hayden. Hayden on the backhand. Now we'll tap it in behind. Rare shift here for Buffalo in the Penguin zone in this third period. The puck will be cleared to neutral territory, and Jacob Bryson contact with Aston Reese. Leads to Brock McGinn as that one slither away, and Dahlin will flip to center.
Keep the pressure on the Penguins. You never know, get back on the power play.
Teddy Bluger will wind it in. Another heavy body check by McGinn. Marino, top of the zone. Filters that one through. Dahlin on the backhand. Pedersen now trying to contain it. It's Brock McGinn reversing. Marino left it for Aston Reese. Bluger. John Marino takes the look, gets it into the crease, and it was stopped in a quick whistle.
Yeah, Bluger got in there with his stick. He really thrust it in there onto the hands of the goaltender, who looks fine right now as we have a melee behind the net.
So Robert Haig and Zach Aston Reese.
Zach's in the throw couple, he did. He just loosened the lid.
Get a good overhead look at it there.
Oh, they're going now. The lines was caught in the middle, and here we go.
It's probably not a battle that Robert Haig wants, and Zach Aston Reese with the right hand free. They square off. Big time rights overhead from Aston Reese. Haymakers. Aston Reese, and the decibel level in the building rises yet again.
Well, this has been a tremendous onslaught by the Penguins in the third period. The Sabres haven't been able to breathe. It's 2-1 Buffalo. Don't go away. Two in this situation, I don't really understand it. Everybody gets in there. Haig throws Reese down into the back of the net. And again, and Reese gets up and just wins a fight. Do you get extra 2 for winning a fight? I don't know. I don't get that. And I'm not there to ask the official. But the Penguins get the short end of the stick here, Mearsy.
Third period shots, 15-0. Penguins. And somehow, as Bob said, end up shorthanded. You see the reaction from Mike Sullivan out of that. Extra 2 minutes for roughing to Zach Aston Reese. Buffalo with their 4th power play chance. R2 roots the line in, works the far boards. Checked by Marino. Marino, nice play to pick it off, and then turned it over. Skinner drops it back to Dahlin. Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, the blast off the skate, collected by Skinner. Skinner, 30 goals 3 seasons ago.
Maintain your composure here, get the penalty kill, and go back to work, because Buffalo's had nothing, absolutely nothing in this period.
41-17, the shots on goal in favor of Pittsburgh. Mentioned the shot attempt totals completely lopsided throughout the game. And the Penguins needing a penalty kill here. 7:28 to go in third. Reach the line installed at center. Skinner trying to get away from Rodriguez. Trying to knife his way through. Good aggressive play from Chad Ruhwedel. But the Sabres got it deep, and it's Rasmus Asplund. Asplund the feed over. One of the Sabres, it's Skinner. He's hurt, clutching his face. Good reach from Letang. Tried to find Ruhwedel. Tage Thompson hit by Ruhwedel. Nudged up the boards. Dahlin off his stick, and it'll flutter into the stands for a souvenir.
Well, Skinner walked right into Chad Ruhwedel and stood him up, and then he kept the stick in between his legs, and he wanted to squeeze onto that stick so he wouldn't let it go. And he got what he deserved. Like he didn't get a penalty for holding the stick.
Buffalo the face-off win, Colin Miller. Miller guarded by Bluger. Gergensen's waiting for it. Gergensen's with an assist tonight. Didn't play at all last season with a hamstring injury. After a great start here this year, he's got the puck and worked over by Marino. Pass those going to go all the way around.
There's that pressure again, Mearsy, that led to a couple of chances, a breakaway and a McGinn one-timer by Bluger.
20 seconds to go in the extra minor to Zach Aston Reese. Gergensen's to Dylan Cousins. Cousins lays it in. Trying to retrieve it now, joined by Gergensen's and Colin Miller. Big puck battle for it. Dumoulin cuts away, lobs it to open ice, and skated out by Jeff Carter. Back to 5-on-5 hockey. Dominic Simon was served that minor penalty. Scampers in after it, nudged away from him by Miller. Puck loose along the wall. Pedersen right through the blue paint. Hinostroza with the high flip, and Cousins waiting for it. Couldn't get it deep. Buffalo making a change. Dominic Simon trying to cut in. Crosby to Pedersen. Wrestling forward, Simon. Tight space. Got it to the top. Here's Mike Matheson. Matheson holds. Looking for a play. Throws it back in front and swatted away by the stick of Tokarski. Cody Eakin. Buffalo trying to shift to offense. Eakin from 60 feet. That's rejected. Overskated by Hinostroza. Second attempt. Got it below the goal line. 5:25 to go in the third. Penguins looking for the equalizer. Rust with Pesic going down. Crosby to Rust. Centering pass. Picked off by Eakin. Couldn't get it out. The hold by Dumoulin. Letang is there with the fake. Dumoulin. Letang. through a seam. Rust has it in front, tipped and kept out by Tokarski. Crosby digging as well. Brian Rust, Sidney Crosby. Try to pass at Gensel the back door. Gensel finds it, goes to the point for Letang. Big guns out here for Pittsburgh, trying to tie it up. Letang, the drive, stopped by Tokarski, and no rebound.
No rebound again as Crosby tried to get in there. I mean, this line is looking for the backdoor passes. You can see, trying to go backdoor to Gensel's backhand with traffic in front of Tokarski.
For you.
Yeah, there's Pettersson, 1 of 5. Matheson, he got the crowd going with that hit. Sidney Crosby tosses Miller into the wall. And the final one by Dominic Simone on Dahlin. That was a real good one right there.
Edgar Snyder and Associates hits of the game. They took your advice, Bob. Got the physicality going, which was lacking in the first half of this one.
Well, the crowd was ready to get off their seats here. And they are. And the Penguins, let's see if they got one more, at least one more they need up their sleeve here with 4:44 left. Tokarski has been so good in this game.
Third period shot 16-1 in favor of Pittsburgh. Dustin Tokarski, 41 saves.
And the only one that went off a skate against him.
Weekly pushed up the boards, he cut off by Carter. Zucker looking over his shoulder, shrugs off the hit, slides it to Letang. Letang to Dumoulin. Dumoulin to Carter. Carter smothered by Bryson. Fishing it out, Dumoulin. Kapanen is behind the goal, working hard, falling down, try to pass. Carter to Letang. Shoots, blocked in front. Ricochet off the glass. Carter again to the front. Bryson is there. Jacob Bryson trapped now. Popped it up to Kapanen. Kapanen had it, lost it. And now the battle ensues with this Carter line. Zucker walks out. Jason Zucker turns, shoots, stopped by Tokarski off the blocker. Moves the line in for Oposo on the backhand. Turned it over to Kapanen. Kapanen goes to Dumoulin. 3:40 to go third period. Dumoulin for Carter. Feed to Kapanen on the hold. Brian Dumoulin sends it down along the wall. Jason Zucker here. End of his shift. Puck trickles to open ice. Kapanen scoops it up and feeds Letang. Letang to Dumoulin, now working the near side. Dumoulin, Kapanen, off his skate, Letang. For the Pittsburgh power play. Zucker slides it up high. Letang there again. Kapanen from the circle, trying to go backdoor, picked off by Ruotsalainen. Dumoulin was headed off. Marino is on, he'll field this puck and tap it forward for Kapanen. Winds, fires, stop made by Tokarski. Under 3 minutes to go, third period. Matheson off his body, Skinner recovers it, now goes to Thompson toward the net and shut down by Tristan Jarry. His biggest stop of the night.
Well, you didn't have, look at
it's Skinner looking, shooting, Marino disrupts it, puck to the glass.
Out of nowhere, you got to make a save when the shots are 16-1 to give yourself a chance to get back into the game. Big save by Jarry.
And one of the Sabres' best players in Tage Thompson too. Brian Rust into enemy ice. Crosby past the high slot right to Skinner. He will curve back. Jeff Skinner will start the motor for Buffalo. Just slaps it past the reach of Tristan Jarry. Skinner's got to head off. Thompson will do the same.
Boy, that clock is ticking down quickly.
Sure is. And with some glorious chances here in the third. Now going with the Bluger line. It's Teddy Bluger with Heinen and Simone. As the puck is melted down by Dustin Tokarski.
And Jarry's out high looking right now. Tokarski turns it to the forehand. The stick of Marino just gets on to Tage Thompson's stick to help out a little bit there. And the puck kind of rolled off his blade. Didn't get a great opportunity. Good back check there. Now Tristan Jarry looked at the bench. He's got his instructions. The Penguins looking for a face-off win.
Can't be easy. You go almost 18 minutes with nothing happening. Only having to make one save in the period, then all of a sudden, prime scoring chance.
Standing down there watching the man at the other end making save after save, and you have to come up with a big one at the right time.
All about the next one, right?
Mm-hmm. You're darn right. Linesman decided he didn't want to drop the puck there.
It's going to be Vinny Hinostroza. Will dig in against Teddy Bluger. Bluger, Heinen, and Simone stay out there. Offensive zone draw. We'll keep an eye on Tristan Jarry, and the Penguins looking for the equalizer. Blueger on the faceoff. Rugby scrum forward. It goes to the boards for Letang. Letang shifting in off the back glass. Bryson tying up Simone. Heinen indirectly to Pedersen. Pedersen to Letang. Letang floats it in front. Never got to Blueger. On the cutoff was Dylan Cousins. Cousins for Kajula. Buffalo looking for a 2-on-1 chance. Forehand to Stroza, denied by Jarry, but a penalty will be called.
And they call a slash on that on Letang right at the end of that as the Sabres are going in. A play that looked almost offside to me at the blue line.
Pittsburgh 58, minor penalty slashing.
And then a slash by Letang from behind. Just play on side. You can't tell from there, but boy, Hinostroza was way on top of the play. And we've seen lesser fouls than that be called penalty shots. If you're going to call a penalty, is that not a penalty shot? Now the Penguins want it to be a penalty shot because now they got to kill a penalty for a minute 36. They would have rather have been a penalty shot had Jarry made the save and been able to play even strength, Mearsy.
That's a good point.
That should be and that was a foul, and a man had a clear path to the net. Why is that not a penalty shot?
And especially we talked about it in the game against New Jersey. Jesper Bratt scored a game-winning goal on what looked to be a 2-on-1. And not exactly a clear path to the net.
71 attempted shots by the Penguins. 71 attempted shots here tonight.
Look at that. Eh? It's absurd. Look at the chances below the dots.
Wow.
That's the grade A zone. That low slot area where the majority of goals are scored in the National Hockey League. And you got to tip your cap to Dustin Tokarski. Tokarski, just his 55th National Hockey League game, did play in the Eastern Conference Final 2014 with the Montreal Canadiens after Carey Price got injured. This guy's been a battler his entire career in the American Hockey League. Buffalo on the power play, 0 for 4, 3 shots on net. Sidney Crosby, Jeff Carter out here. The Penguins looking for some offense. 90 seconds to go in the third.
Well, at some point here, the goalie's going to come out.
That would just even things up. It was a slashing call to Chris Letang. Ryan Dumoulin to the middle. Tried the shot. That was rejected. Extra attacker is on. And with the puck, it's John Marino. Lost an edge. Pops back up, and he's over the line. Marino dancing. Tried to pass. Puck jumped on him. Carter gets decked by Pesic. Net empty. It's 5-on-5 with the penalty to Letang. Stopped by Rodriguez. Chipped down to Carter. Tried to feed in front. Intercepted by Pesic. Pesic's on the backhand. Now it's Asplund from the forehand and down the near boards. Gensel will retrieve. 48 seconds to go in the third. 2-1 score. Jake Gensel, Penguins goal scorer tonight. Rattles it in. Off the stick. Trickles below the goal line. Gensel looks. Finds Carter. Carter. With the check. Crosby's behind the goal. Try the feed for Carter. That's picked up. Thompson for the empty net. It'll go wide. Rodriguez hustles. There's the whistle. 27.9 on the clock.
Penguins are looking around here. Zach Aston-Reese taps for him as he goes to the Penguins bench after that scrap. And the Penguins will call a timeout here, Mearsy, with 27.9 left. There's been 3 goals in the game. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look back. First one came 28 seconds into the second period. And it was from defenseman Colin Miller, his second of the year from Kajula and Cousins. Straight Kajula, as Bob talked about, a nice bank pass. And a big shot from Colin Miller made it 1-0. And Kyle Oposo, with this redirection, 8:54 at the time, his 4th of the season. Great start for him. Penguins get a bounce, and an intentional play too. Jake Gensel turns the skate beautifully. 5th goal of the year from Rustin Crosby. Crosby checks in with his first point of the season. Gensel 4 goals in the last 7 games. And ever since, it has been a barrage of shots on the Dustin Tokarski. He's made 43 saves. Jeff Carter on this draw. Again, it's 5-on-5 because of the Letang penalty. Pittsburgh net is empty. Jarry to the bench. They drop the puck. It's free. Crosby taps it up high. Rodriguez shoots right there. Tokarski makes a sprawling save on Gensel. And another whistle sounds.
I don't know how he kept his left arm on the ice tight enough. It looked like that puck was going to slide out his arm, slide under it right here. But he's down. And he's been there at almost every opportunity. I thought it was going to get under his armpit there as Gensel trying to work his magic in front of the net. Another big face-off.
It'll be Carter on the assignment once again. Jeff Carter digging in. Penguins win another one. Evan Rodriguez feed over. Rush does a one-timer blocked by Oposo. 14 seconds to go, third period. Gensel's behind the net. Checked by Pesic. Sidney Crosby gets it to Rush. He shoots off the outside of the cage. Hustling over Rodriguez to the middle. Shoved out by Oposo, and that is going to do it. Dustin Tokarski will finish with 45 saves, and the Penguins lose a heartbreaker. 2-1 final score. Number one Cochrane Expressway player of the game is indeed the Sabres netminder, and we got to take a look at this one. As Tokarski, help from the post.
Right by the glove. And the bench thought they had the equalizer there. And the season high 46 shots wasn't enough. It wasn't enough tonight. That man was magical in the net, was he not?
A 32-year-old from Watson, Saskatchewan, with performance from the ages for the Buffalo Sabres. 2-1, the final score. We'll be back.
Wherever your journey